Welcome back to another Sunday prep day. If you're new here, every Sunday I prep for the week, so it means cutting all my vegetables and making things that take a little time. Like today, I'm gonna make some carnitas and some salsa. And as always, I'm gonna start by cutting up all my vegetables and telling you about the menu. So, these onions are for the carnitas. So for lunch today on Sunday, I'm gonna have some sandwiches. Have some ham to go on some rolls. So I'm diabetic, had to cut carbs, so most of my lunches are low carb keto friendly, except on the weekend when I have my cheat days, because I do miss sandwiches, or at least the convenience of sandwiches. So that's one onion. Then I also need these two red onions diced for a few things. So to dice, I take off one end, I leave the root end, cut it in half so everything is still attached at the root. So I can cut it towards the root but not all the way through. Nice and fine. And then cut across for a nice fine dice. So for dinner tonight on Sunday, I'm gonna have some tortillas with some chicken. I'll have some lettuce with that. I'm gonna marinate the chicken in some harissa spices, some yogurt, some tomato puree. Make it nice and flavorful. Then for Monday, Meatless Monday, for lunch I'm gonna do an omelet. So eggs, lots of veggies. And then for dinner, what am I gonna do for dinner? I'll do a couscous bowl with falafel. So the couscous, I'm gonna do like a couscous salad with parsley, cucumber, peppers, etc. And then we're on Tuesday. For lunch, I'm gonna do some chicken with some green beans. And then for dinner, I'm gonna do some carnitas. So the pork on some wraps with the salsa. Then for Wednesday, for lunch, I'm gonna do some stuffed peppers. So I'm gonna have some peppers and I'm going to stuff that with some ground beef and some vegetables. And I will roast that. And then for dinner, I'm gonna do a carnitas rice bowl. So I'll use the carnitas, the salsa. I'll do some lime cilantro rice, maybe some corn, some sour cream. Then on Thursday for lunch, I want to do some keto chicken nuggets. So that will be with almond meal. And I'll just throw those in the air fryer. And I'll have that with probably some green beans or some broccoli. Then for dinner, I'm gonna do some barbecue pulled pork. So the leftovers of the carnitas, I'm going to mix with some barbecue sauce and put them on some rolls with some lettuce, etc. So here I have some shallots. I'll cut those as well. Those are going to go in my omelet, among other things. So then we're on Friday, Fish Friday. So for lunch, I'm going to do some salmon with some broccoli probably. I can change the veggies around. And then for dinner, I'm going to do some fish and chips. So I have some breaded fish in the freezer. I'll cut some potato into potato wedges. And again, I'll have that with broccoli or green beans. Then next up, I have some garlic. So I'm going to do 2 cloves. I'll just do those whole. Those are for the carnitas. That's going to cook down so I don't need to cut it. because that will be really soft and fall apart. And the rest I'll just give a quick dice. That's for the omelet, for the salsa, etc. Then next up, let's do some peppers. So here I have a whole regular pepper. That's going to be for my stuffed peppers, so just to have them and clean those out. Get little ribs out and the seeds. And then I have a couple of peppers in different colors. Some I'm going to slice, some I'm going to dice. Again, for my omelet, for my salsa, for things like that. So just take the seeds out. So these are not chilies, they're peppers. They're sweet. So I'll just slice 1/2 of each of these and I'll dice the other. And these are also going to go in my couscous salad. That's why I need it diced. And like I said, I'll just repeat that for the green and the orange. And next up, I have a bunch of chilies. I have some cayenne, I have some jalapenos. So, again, these are going to go in my salsa, in my omelet, etc. So, these cayenne, I just have different colors, orange, red, and green. And I'm just using different colors because I can, not because I care about one more than the other. They all taste pretty much the same. But I like having some variety. And then I have these jalapenos, and I will take the seeds out of that just because I find them annoying, because there's a lot of pith. And I'll just slice these up, and these jalapenos are going to go in my carnitas, for example, in my stuffed peppers, etc. Then next up, some tomatoes. These are for my salsa, which is like a pico de gallo. So I'm just going to take the seeds out because I don't want all that moisture. And I'll just give those a quick dice. And I'll put them in this container because that's where I'm going to make the salsa in. Then next up, some cucumber. This is going to go in my salsa and in my couscous salad, so I need some cubes. So I'll cut in strips first. Cut into sticks. Cut around the core because that's a little bit soft. And then I'll just dice that up. And that core is not going to go to waste, so I'll just eat that as a snack. Then next up, I have some parsley for my couscous salad. So I'm just going to bunch that up to make it a little more easy to work with. Give that a rough chop first. Get rid of the stems. Those stems are perfect for making soup or something, by the way, but I'm not making soup this week or next, so I'm just going to keep running my knife through until everything is nice and fine. Then next up, I have some carrots. for my stuffed peppers, for example. So these are small, so I'm just gonna cut them in half lengthwise. And then I'll just cut them across nice and fine. If they were bigger, I would julienne them or grate them, but since these are so small, I'll also put this in my omelet, by the way. Then next up, I have 2 bunches of cilantro, one for my lime cilantro rice, one for my salsa. So again, give it a quick chop. I'm gonna save the stems for a curry probably next week. And I'll just keep running my knife through until everything is nice and fine. I'm just doing one bunch at a time, just because of the space I have on the board. But I'll do the exact same with the other one. And this bunch is for my salsa, so I'll put that directly into the container with the tomatoes. Then next up, some lettuce for my wraps tonight, and also for my barbecue pork sandwiches. So I'll give that a quick shred. And I'll use some for my sandwiches for lunch today as well. Then here I have some broccoli. I have this half a head, and then I'll use more from a new fresh head. I'll use up the old first, because I need florets enough for about 2 portions. So I'll just cut these florets into bite-sized pieces until I have enough. There we go, that's about 2 portions. And I'll save the other half for another day. And also don't throw away the stems, because those are great for things like broccoli, rice, etc. And then last for chopping, I have some green beans for 2 meals. And I'll just top and till those. Alright, we just hit 29 minutes and I'm done with all the chopping. So I'm gonna put some things away, and I'm gonna start my Ninja Foodi on saute to get some of the pork brown before I make the carnitas. We'll make the salsa, etc. So I'll just be back in a moment. Okay, my Ninja Foodi is preheated with a little bit of oil on a saute high, so it's nice and hot. Here I have some stewing pork in big chunks, so I'll just add that. I'll add a little bit of salt, and I'll just let that get a little bit of color. I don't need it to cook through, I just want some color just for a little bit of flavor. In the meantime, we'll finish the salsa. So I have my tomatoes, I have some cilantro. I'll add a bit of cucumber, some garlic, some diced red onion, some chilies, and I'll add a little bit of peppers as well, just because I like that. A bit of crunch. So it's not a traditional pico de gallo, but that's how I like it. Add some salt to this, some cumin, and I'll add the juice of 1 lime. And then I'm going to put the lid on and give that a little shake. And that's the salsa done. And now that the meat has some color on it, I'm going to add my 2 large cloves of garlic, my yellow onion, and some chili. And I'll just let those vegetables soften. And now that the vegetables have softened, I'm going to add a chicken stock cube and some water. You can also use just a carton of chicken stock or fresh chicken stock, but this is what I usually have on hand. I'll add enough water to mostly submerge the meat. I'll add some lime and some cumin. And now I'm going to change this from saute to pressure cook. I'll put my pressure lid on. You can totally do this in a slow cooker, by the way, or just on the stove in a regular pot with a lid on it and just let it simmer. But since I have a pressure cooker, it's just a lot quicker. So I'll do 40 minutes because these pieces of meat are quite big. And by that time it should be falling apart. So I'll check back in with you when that's done. And the pork is done, so I just shredded that real quick. So now when I want to use that, I'm just gonna crisp that up in a pan real quick and use it. So that's all the prep work done for this week. If you like this kind of content, I do this every single Sunday. And if you'd like to see what I do with all of this, you can check out my Instagram where I post every single meal, or you can check out the video I post about once a month on here where I show you everything I eat in a day for a whole week, and I just posted one last Friday. So yeah, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Until next time, bye for now.